Chris, you did that excellent documentary on net zero, and I think a lot of people watched that and suddenly woke up to what might be going on in our country. Well, we wake up today, Australian front page, Productivity Commission warning that the transition to net zero is going to cost even more than expected. Surprise, surprise. And there'll need to be greater government intervention. That'll mean more money from the taxpayers. None of this would surprise you, right?
No, but one of the things that does surprise me is the Productivity Commission used to be an absolute ornament to proper public service scrutiny. And the idea of the Productivity Commission was that it puts under the microscope government policies and subjected them to hard-headed economic analysis. And what does this report do? This report is trying to pave the way for government programs and including much more regulation in the economy. Now, you tell me a time when the Productivity Commission in the past has actually advocated for more regulation, has been unable to put any kind of figure on the costs that are going towards this program, and is now talking about essentially flattening out environmental laws so that the government may proceed with as much haste as possible with massive industrial wind farms. Now, if you were a farmer trying to clear the tops of hilltops on the Great Dividing Range, which is what is proposed, you wouldn't be able to cut down one tree. What the Productivity Commission is advocating for is essentially we need to destroy the environment to save the planet. That doesn't strike me as a particularly good way of going about business.
Suggests to me that there's been some politicisation of the Productivity Commission, because Chris Bowen's going to look at that report today. I mean, you know, if Question Time was on today, he would have been asked a question about it and he would have said it's endorsing his government's policies and what they want to try and do.
Stephen, we saw it first in Victoria and we're seeing it in Australia. Now, you would know this is the Victorian government root and branch now is a creature of the Australian Labor Party, the Victorian branch of the Australian Labor Party. And what we're seeing in a federal level now is the same thing is happening federally. All of these agencies, which should actually be looking out for consumers, not just the Productivity Commission, but where is the Auditor General running his eye over the way that the government is distributing money through the capacity investment schemes, billions of dollars inside a black box, which are actually at the discretion of the minister? Why isn't that being looked at across all of the bureaucracy, including Treasury? I don't see anything but an acceptance of an ideological position by government, which they are determined to back in.
Yeah, and you just wonder, don't you, just finally, that, you know, if you go back in history and you were having debates about linking New South Wales and Victoria with transmission lines or building a new government-owned coal-fired power station, as they once used to be, that the taxpayers would be told how much it was going to cost and what it was going to do to the price of their electricity bill.
And we know now, Steve, like the thing is we keep getting modelling from people like the CSIRO on what the cost will be. The only modelling you need to look at is your own electricity bill and then ask the question, what's changed? Why is my bill rising? Why is the federal government needing to step in and subsidise electricity bills? Because the cost path that we are on, by putting more wind and solar on the grid, is going to be ruinously expensive, and we have only just begun to do it. We're yet to see the long-run costs of these big transmission projects, and once everyone is ticked off, as they explode in cost, that will be written into your bill for the next 25 years because there is a regulated rate of return on those assets. So you think your bills are high now? Just wait. They are on nothing but an upward trajectory, and nobody in government has any idea about what the real cost of net zero is going to be, because transforming the electricity grid is a small part of it.
Chris, great to catch up. I look forward to seeing next Monday night.